people wherever you are. If they're like we're live again, yes, with real talks. Last week we were going down the rabbit hole, and today we're going talking about redefining health because there's so much more to cover once you go different things about health and all and after you also a lot of things. So like we're going to be talking about that today. And first of all, I want to say a disclaimer. So it's entertainment purposes only. Our like each of our perspectives is our own. And always do your own research. So like a lot of things we research, and you can find it also for yourself. And but I just want to say that like whatever it is, like research yourself. First of all, we're going to what are the things like here? What is the things that you found out after your like your awakening, like about that you never, maybe a lot of people don't know about. So maybe who wants to share about that?
Well, I found out that everything was a lie. I, I've always been a I have if I may say I have always been awakened to a certain level ever since I was a kid. But it took the age of Aquarius, the initiation of the age of Aquarius, to actually throw me into Kundalini and get me to a place to where I can fully see. My third eye began to open, and I start seeing things unfold that were just unbelievable. And it sent me on a surge of deep research. And I was just on a thirst of wanting to learn more and more and more. And I started connecting at the same time. I was going through the dark night of the soul in 2020. And I was, in a sense, suffering, but also I was in the process of this chain of events that has been destined in my life in order to awake to the level that I am today. And part of that is how I met Janneke, because in my suffering and trying to figure out what was going on, I had to reach out for help, and I couldn't get help from doctors, medical doctors, and the usual in this matrix. So in my search, I started reaching out to people who were more enlightened, or enlightened in a different way. And that's how I connected with you, Janneke. Remember, it was in late 2020, and you assisted me, and you helped me. You were one of many that helped me open my eyes to what was really taking place on the planet. But so that's just how, that's the how everything initiated with me and my awakening. It happened in 2020, mid 2020. April the 6th, to be exact, is when I started having the breathing issues. And then I had to start researching to figure out what was going on. But anyway, I got as my DNA began to open and clean itself, and I began to see some things, and I started getting the downloads myself. Part of my information was coming from within myself, and I say information that I was beginning to remember, because we're like a database. We're a whole system here, and I began to remember some things, but not fast enough for me to be able to relax. So I had to reach out to, I found Janneke on, I can't remember how I found you. It was two or three people I found, and Janneke was the most I resonated with. And so you helped get me calm down and my fears, where I can, proceed. So if I could just share that little bit with you guys. And then from there on to the current times, I've just been on a quest of learning and healing, really healing from the abuse of this matrix. So since then, though, I've accomplished a lot. Um, I bought 20 and a half acres of land, 10 outside of the city, in the country, and 10 and a half I bought um, off grid. So I've been accomplishing a lot,
Wow,
if I may share that.
of course.
That's
Could you
that's
maybe also elaborate a little
that's
bit on
amazing. Thank you for.
the food part where you were
Mhm.
just talking about before we started the live? It's very interesting to hear.
Oh, so when I was thrown into when I started with the breathing issues, I had heard a lot of information. I had already pulled a lot of information from different contacts of enlightened people that were enlightened. So I had already been told, you know, do this and do that so you don't get sick. Something is about to happen, and whatever you do, don't go to the hospitals. You know, be careful. You know, I started hearing all of these things from these highly enlightened people that I was connected to. Um, and so I had enough information to know not to take the hot sauce 19, you know. I had enough information to know not to go to the hospital and to understand that there was something sinister taking place. I had enough information to know that. So I was surely, I thought I knew that I would definitely be one that wouldn't get caught up in it, in any of it, because I thought I knew enough. However, I was mistaken because I didn't realize that my body was not in the condition that it needed to be to deal with what was coming in the atmosphere that I was not aware of.
Mhm.
And so I got hit with the changes as the frequency rises and the sun heats up. If
Ooh.
your body is not prepared for that, you know, it can make you sick.
Mhm.
And so, because they hid all that information, and many of us didn't know or didn't know enough, I got caught in that, and I became ill suddenly, and you know, to the point to where I had to seek some kind of medical help. I just didn't go to the hospital. So I went to a walk-in clinic because my breathing had really gotten really bad. You know, and I couldn't, you know, I didn't know what to do. So finally I went there, and they kept misdiagnosing me, to finally I was in full-fledged kundalini, and my body, I was having these issues with, like, my body was on fire. It's like my nervous system was inflamed, is the only way I could explain it. And I didn't know what it was. So finally my daughter talked me into contacting a therapist. And at the time I found the right therapist, and they set me down, and that's how I found out I was experiencing actually kundalini. And I had no idea what kundalini was. I've heard about it, but I just never, you know, questioned the definition of it. And that's when my journey really, you know, set out. So I was going to allergy specialists, still trying to find out. And then I saw on CNN, I saw an episode where Donald Trump had these doctors. He had a group of doctors on there talking about a hydrochloroquine,
Yeah.
and how, you know, you guys remember when hydrochloroquine was a big topic. And so this one doctor was there, and she was sharing that, you know, getting on that medication would definitely help with the breathing issues. And so uh luckily, or divinely, she was in Houston, Texas, and I was only 2 hours away. So I had a premonition during in the middle of the night one night, and I woke my husband up, and I told him, I'm getting ready. I'm gonna get up right now. It was still dark. I said, and I'm heading to Houston. I'm gonna go find that doctor. And my husband was like, "You're gonna do what?" I said, "I'm gonna go to Houston this morning. I'm gonna find that doctor." And I said, "You want to go with me? If not, I understand. I can go by myself, but I'm going." And he decided, "Well, I'm not gonna let you go by yourself." So he called in. At the time, he was working for the government, and he said, "I'm not gonna let you go." And he called in, and he and I drove to Houston, Texas, and we found Dr. Her name was Estella, and she was the one that stood by Donald Trump on CNN that day when they were talking about how to the hydrochloroquine, and the system was trying to criticize the medicine. But I went and I started, I saw this, I was determined, and I got on that medicine. And then it was just been a chain of events that took place after that in my healing. And eventually I found a holistic doctor that started me to detox in my body. And it wasn't until I detoxed my body was when I totally started really healing. When I, started putting the right foods in my body and taking out all of the stuff that needed to be removed, the
Could
toxins and
you,
stuff.
sorry that I interrupt you. Could you maybe
Yeah.
elaborate a little bit on how you detoxed your body?
Well, I had a friend of mine that connected me to a holistic doctor in California, and I called him, and he actually, by the way, Romeo Brooks is his name. Roots Nutrition is the website. I called him, and he happened to have this system that he created that will flush the toxins out of your body. The total healing system that he created, and he got me on that system. And by the time I reached him, I was like in tears. I was like desperate, at wit's end. And he was the one. After seeing, to be honest, I kind of passed over. I saw about 4 doctors before I got to him. And he said, the reason you haven't been healing is because the first thing you do before you start adding those medications is you need to detox. And he said, I have the system that can work for you. And I started taking his system, and I started flushing. I had to fast and take his he has a system where it pulls out all of the whatever inside your digestive system, and then it replenishes it with the smoothies that he had me taking with the superfoods. So you're removing toxins and you replenishing what you need with his system. And once I started doing that, then my breathing started really getting better. But that's the very first thing I would recommend for anyone that's dealing with any kind of problem like I was, is to detox your body, your blood, your organs,
That's
and
anyway
your
really good.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do so the medication, I say medication, the organic foods I was taking from the other doctors that had recommended something else, they couldn't get to my blood. They couldn't get to my organs and my cells because I didn't do a detox. I needed that first. So I say to you, that is so critical. Before you start piling in all this other nutritional help, you need to, so that it can get to your cells, you need to clean yourself
Yeah.
out. You just need, you know
Clean
what
the
I mean?
filters. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to clean everything. Your the lymphatic system, your blood, your
Yeah.
organs,
So,
your yeah. And so until you do that, many times the nutrition can't get to your
thank
cells.
you, Valerie. Thank you,
Yeah.
Valerie. I want
Yeah.
to elaborate on some other things as well. Thank you for sharing your story
Okay.
and what happened. But a lot of people don't even know that they first need to clean their system before
Yeah.
you can really like digest the food right first. To
Yeah.
digest, we all have like, what in the food, like not all, like especially processed food, is really like there's a lot
Yeah.
of chemicals in there, and we are not able to process the food right, and we have to learn like when you detox, then your body can reabsorb the nutrients, and before it's like almost
That's
not
right.
possible.
Mhm.
And that's with detoxing,
That's right.
cleaning your gut. That's also very
So
important.
Janneke, I
You
know
can
you
clean
do
your
a
gut
lot of.
out with colonic.
I was going to say you do a lot of detoxes.
Yeah,
Can you
I
name some of the
cleaning the
things
gut.
that you use?
Yeah, it's
Say it
fasting
again, Janneke.
a lot. Like it's also really, really good. Fasting. I did fasting
Right.
1 day, 3 days, then it is because your body is not doing the digestion of it, because that is what takes a lot of energy up. So if you're not digesting
Yeah.
the food, there's healing through your whole body. And fasting is like
That's
you
right.
can do it like 1 day or 3 days. I did one time even 2 days. But there's people that go to clinics to heal their bodies that like do the 20 days or 40 or even 60 days. It's like a clinic where people really
Mm.
have like really like heavy diseases. They go there to, and it's really healing the body. But I also did a juice cleanse, a parasite cleanse. I did a lot of other things as well, like supplements to detox my body. But I also did cleaning the gut, and that is I did colonics, I did enemas. You can do all different ways with different things in it. And also you can also clean the gut with herbs as well. And I'm doing a lot of actual herbs. I'm making teas as well, and like I do
Mhm.
herbs for parasites. I take wood, I take make teas and make with dandelion and soursop leaf, sarsaparilla and burdock root. Those are all herbs that
Yeah.
Dr. Sebi recommended. And Dr. Sebi also sounds really interesting to find online. Dr. Sebi and Dr. Morse, they all want to like heal with like natural foods and lots of. I also like I'm very much into fruits. Also, it's like one of the craziest things that they make people believe that fruit sugars are bad. It's like they say like, oh, too much
Mhm.
fruits is too much sugar,
Mm.
but the artificial white sugar,
Not
not
true.
the fruit sugar.
Mhm.
And that is really strange. Like,
Mhm.
how can you let people believe that fruits are bad? Like, yeah, here, take this candy. This is good. Take this candy instead of like fruits. So that is some things
Yeah.
that I'm really all about. Like being like being as healthy as possible, preventive, not before I get
Yeah.
things. And people can really with like healthy food.
Mm.
And Guillaume, what you did, you can change a lot about your diet.
My diet. Well, for starters, I wouldn't really call it a diet anymore. I would call it a
Mhm.
lifestyle change because it needs to stay. And a diet is
Absolutely.
usually temporarily.
Yeah.
I totally agree with Valerie's statement that you have to clean your filters and your system
Mhm.
before you can reap the benefits of biological and whole food.
So true.
But what I basically did, I can talk from my own experience. I think people would call it download. I think I would call it intuition, maybe. I'm not that
Mhm.
far ahead yet. But I intuitionally took, the things that I already knew 7 months ago. I started with it. Um, I maybe I should say that 7 months ago I was like 120 kilos. and now I'm 82 kilos. And how did I achieve that? The only thing that I did was making sure that I was eating whole foods, so nothing processed, nothing pre-packaged. I need to recognize what it is. I started doing the keto diet, which means I removed all the carbs, all the sugars, all the refined from my diet. I removed all bread and all dairy, which also takes away the yeast and some other stuff that's not really good for your body. I
You
started
break.
with I started with a 2-week fasting, water fast,
Oh, yeah, now you go back.
to basically clean the system and to kickstart your body into burning fat again. And I combined that with what they call intermittent fasting in English, which basically means that you make the window in which you're eating smaller and smaller. I started with 8
Yeah.
hours, and I'm on 4 to 5 hours a day. There are several reasons for that. I know now that we're actually supposed to eat while it's light, because your pineal gland actually needs light to make serotonin, which is not just a mood changer, but it's also something that helps with digestion. I think most people will recognize that when you eat late at night, the food is still in your belly the next morning. Well, if you do it during the day, a few hours later, your stomach will be empty. It's being digested. And at night, it makes melatonin, which is not just for sleep, but it's also your best antioxidant. It actually needs, your body needs it to repair itself.
Right.
The fasting is also very important. I think you already touched a little bit on it. It's to give your body the rest. It's actually every time you eat, your body treats it, your immune system treats it like a foreign invader, and it starts to, to put energy into protecting your body. So if you narrow that down to a few hours, you get like 20 hours for your body to repair itself. In my and the crazy thing is I did it all intuitively, but I started to make a morning tea with all the things that I knew, and it's actually consistent of most of the natural antioxidants, antifungal, antiparasitical, and it's just normal household items. I can give an example. What I put in my tea is like ginger, fresh ginger. I grind like a thumb of it, fresh curcuma, fresh cloves, I like a handful, cayenne pepper, because that's one of the peppers that doesn't use capsicum. It's actually very good for your blood and for your blood pressure. Black pepper, coconut oil, a little bit of it, which is very good for your system. And I alternate rosemary and thyme and some other herbs, which all are very beneficial in cleansing your body. I can tell you that I was just discussing it with somebody else, that it's now winter season here in Holland, and everybody is having a clogged nose and flu-like symptoms. I haven't been sick for as long as I can remember. And this, I don't even get a clogged nose anymore. I feel the best I've ever felt. And the effect of the ketosis, I can also tell you, that's for people who don't know, it's that returning back to the state of burning fat, which we all do when we are a baby. It's kind of ridiculous how the system, how society puts sugar in your body from as early as age on. Especially the company Nestle is very good at it, giving you baby foods full of glucose, which is very bad for your body. Anyway, without elaborating too much on it, the effect of it, because I think that's the thing that I would like to emphasize, is that not only did I lose over 30 kilos without really doing that much exercise, I also had a lot of anti-immune reactions, like a rash all over my face and some frozen shoulder syndrome, or whatever they call it. And if you go to your house doctor, they will give you hormone creams and hormone shots, like these cortisol shots. And I didn't take any of them. And after 2-3 months of going into this new lifestyle, all these symptoms are gone. My skin is clear, my shoulder is gone. I can do push-ups, everything again. My stamina is back. Whereas I couldn't even bike to the end of the street without losing my breath. I can now bike 20 kilometers, run up the stairs and down, and then I feel like, let's do this again, because it feels so good. So I feel like I'm 25 again. It's the energy is
Wow.
amazing when you're going back on keto.
That is amazing.
So yeah, well, I could go into what filtered water, which I also use. We're talking pineal gland a lot, also on our last podcast, and I think most people already know that you should avoid fluorides and stuff like that as much as possible.
Absolutely.
And I can also add to that aluminium, which is used a lot these days to package stuff that you can put in the oven and into the microwave. Well, aluminium is also a neurotoxin, and it actually dumbs you down, makes you more susceptible. So packaging, food, cleansing, detox, I think all these things come together, giving you a better feel for your body again, and you can start to really feel stuff again.
That's right.
As a man, I think always used to think that I'm less sensitive than women, but the more I'm into this new lifestyle, if I eat something that I would usually do to treat myself or give a little treat like a pizza or whatever, no, nowadays I just regret these things, because within the hour my body just starts to tell me, hey, this is crap that you put in your body,
Yeah.
and it starts to protest. And it gives you
Yeah.
actually, like, if you do that for a long time, you probably just get desensitized to it, but your body will tell you this is poison. And
Yeah.
with all these things, even I've got some stupid sauce, it can be all whole food, and I put some sauce from a can in there, and I immediately taste this chemical in there, and I will be like, let's not eat this. So that's in a nutshell what my experience with health, going healthy, at least the physical part of it.
Yeah.
Let's leave a little bit room for Liezl.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Yeah, my journey of the truth in health started basically when my kids were little, basically with taking them to the doctors and taking them for their mandatory things that I thought were mandatory, what the schedule they give for kids when they're young. And that's when my eyes opened up at first, when friends of mine asked me about the schedule. And then I realized that what I always thought was mandatory wasn't mandatory, and you actually had a choice to say no. And then the more I researched into that, it just became so clear to me, like, why would I ever do this again to my children or to myself? Because, prior to realizing having kids, for my job, I had to take these kind of things as well. And now I have reason to believe, like, this is one of the reasons why I have real fertility problems, and I struggle to conceive. So yeah, but that is how my journey started into this. And then, of course, as a young person, well, I was not young, 34, with my
That's
first
young.
child, pregnant with my first child, I thought I knew everything, and that is actually the worst case we can be in. The worst state we can be in is when you're not teachable, when you think you know everything, because no one ever knows anything, and you don't know what you don't know. So that was me.
True.
I didn't know what I didn't know, and I trusted the doctors, thinking that they have my best health and my best outcome in their hearts, and that was absolutely not the case. My stay in the hospital when I went into labor with my eldest was near torture. The things that they had done to me, and things, and the birth, and all of that. And so that was just another awakening for me, like, to really realize, like, you have to take responsibility of your own health, and you have to take things in your own hands and learn what the symptoms are of different things, so that you can for yourself decide, like, is this something I need to worry about, or is this something that I'll be fine if I just take some rest, And that was very crucial for me as a mother, and also for my family, like, especially for my husband, to be able to tell him, like, don't worry, these are the symptoms of, like, for instance, chickenpox. You don't need to go out and get a vaccination for chickenpox. It's totally normal to get this kind of thing, or measles, and actually the benefits that it gives your body for having these natural diseases, and what you get afterwards. So that's how my journey started, and now it's my, like, passion. Like, water is one of my big passions. My business is around water. It's like hydrogen-rich water, which is the most potent antioxidant known to us at the moment, and we drink this daily. my children don't want to drink anything else. Even the dogs will now rather drink hydrogen-rich water than the rainwater they were drinking before. And yeah, this is my journey, and I would recommend to anybody is like, if you're still drinking tap water, you must really think about that. And then secondly, don't even go to reverse osmosis water or any of those distilled water, because that's even worse than tap water, maybe.
Demineralized. Yeah.
Exactly. It steals your body of all the minerals that you had. But yeah, these topics can go so deep, but I'll leave it there for a moment.
Yeah. So I want to say I did
it's
find.
also about finding. Go ahead, Valorie.
Now I was just gonna say I found a water spring. I found a natural water spring here. There's an app here in the United States that will show you all of the water springs in the States. And someone sent that to me, and I was able to find a natural water spring within 30 minutes from my house. And so my husband and I have been drinking natural water, from the earth now for about 30 days. We're trying to find someone to dig a well for us here, on our land, which is, we're really excited about getting a well. But meanwhile, we're getting water from that natural spring that we found. And I was going to say, I also I keep a pot of herbs, herbal tea, and I have a huge bag of all kinds of herbs. You name it, I probably got it. And so my husband and I, we drink tea around the clock. This natural water, we drink our tea, and I do the fruit smoothies with the superfoods. I try to do at least 2 a day, to keep everything flowing really good. And I just eat one time between 1 and 6 o'clock. I eat one time a day because that's too much food. That 3 meals a day, in my
You don't
research,
need
I
it.
find it works the system too much. You don't need that much food. And, actually we can eat the sun, as long as we got water. As long as we got water, the sun is our food. So they taught us to eat all that food and 3 times a day and, this and that. But really, they lied about it all. I find that they lied. I want to tell you guys about Yaqui Awakening. You mentioned Dr. Sebi, Janneke. There's a young man called Yaqui Awakening. He patterns Dr. Sebi. He's really great. He's an herbalist. He's a powerhouse, and he has a website. So look him up, and it's yaquiawakening.com. But he's really phenomenal, and he patterns Dr. Sebi. So, but yeah, I just wanted to add that, about the teas, like he was saying earlier. The herbal teas are amazing. Burdock root, and it's just so many. Spirulina. So, yeah, it's so many out there. I try to keep some of all of them.
Cilantro, also a good detoxifier.
All of them.
Yeah.
And I just found out. I'm going to say this, and then I'll let you guys talk. But I just found out just how much parasites are so common in our bodies. I didn't realize it until recently that parasites are very prevalent in our bodies, and you have to keep your system clean in order to rid them. Very important. A lot of people are sick because of parasites. So that's something I found out just recently, how important it is to keep your system clean from parasites. So I just want to add that.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of diseases stem from the parasites,
Thank you.
indeed, in that you have your gut.
Oh.
And there's different things that you can. I am like taking at this moment wormwood and diatomaceous earth for that,
Yeah.
but I also other parasite cleanses from. So in is Janneke Awakens is indeed very interesting name on here. He is also on Instagram and Facebook talks. And someone else who was also interesting is
Yes.
Marcus Roodkrans, all about eating raw. And I will put his name also here. And he also yourself one-on-one to download for free. And I did also his parasite cleanse for a while. And his name is Marcus Roodkrans. And he talks about like how like in raw food, like what I talked about also fruits, they promote electricity that they give the bodies, but also raw fruit have all the nutritions in the food. But they put
Yes.
also a lot of things in a processed food, warm food, so we get like almost like addicted to that's something
Yeah.
like and it's Marcus Rood. I will see if it with a Z or an S. As heal yourself one-on-one, and it's really about heal yourself indeed with raw food and herbs, and it is like a book that you can download for free, and that is really foods you can heal yourself so you can watch like the natural fruits, and it's also about like there's different sort of fruits that like even more detoxifying, like melons and berries and grapes is really good. There's also
Yeah.
things that you
Grapes
can
Papaya.
is
do like
number
fast
one.
with like fruit fast. Yes, and
Grapes
I
are a
also
beast.
love
But let me add to that.
yeah,
Grapes with the
With
seeds.
seeds. With seeds, definitely.
It's
So
the
my
seeds
husband and I,
that pack the punch.
that's right. Grapes are the my
yeah,
understanding and my research, they are the most powerful. We underestimate the power of grapes, seeded grapes. They're hard to find here in the States. But
Yeah,
as a matter
true.
of fact, my husband and I, we just started a fruit forest, and we
Oh, wow.
planted 4 seeded grape, 4 different grapes. And most of the popular fruits in the States, we planted about 7 trees just this week, actually.
Wow.
But watermelon is another super fruit. Grapes and watermelons are amazing. Papaya. I do use
Papaya.
the papaya seeds for my parasites. Papaya seeds and grapefruit. The flesh of the grapefruit is good for parasites as well. I put them in a smoothie.
How do you use
Yeah,
the papaya seeds? I've heard it before.
I put them in I put them in my smoothies.
Okay, just
with
blend them with the
They don't
smoothie.
have a Yeah, I'm sure some people just eat on them, but I don't. The taste is not very attractive to me,
Yeah,
so
it's
I
very
put them in
peculiar
my
taste.
smoothie so I can get them down. The object for me is
Mm,
just to get them down,
okay.
So yeah,
Cool.
And
but
another
they're
way is
good.
like you guys talking all about the physical foods, but there's also like ways to detox even with frequencies. And like I said, like even this hydrogen-rich water is a super detoxer as well as
Mhm.
frequencies. So I
Mhm.
often refer to frequencies first to do like detoxes and cleanses and things.
Mhm.
Even before I do like, because of course my kids, to get wormwood and all these kind of things down my kids' throats, it's not so easy. I mean, we don't even like the taste of the stuff. So I
Mhm.
often first go the route of frequencies and like those kind of avenues, which also very potent.
Mhm. I forgot about pumpkin seeds too to add to that. Pumpkin seeds are
Pumpkin
good
seeds.
too for parasites.
True.
Mhm. Yeah. Have you
but
guys
it
heard of
also
Sheila heat?
I've heard of
yeah, I hear a
shilajit,
lot
but I
about
have no
Sheila.
experience with it.
I
I
love
take
Shilajit.
I've been taking Sheila Heat for about a little over a month, and it has given me so much more energy.
Already?
You
Wow.
know, oh,
You know
Sheila
what
Heat
it
is
is? It's the
amazing.
secretions of the rocks, like in Asia, like the mountain, like it's like a mineral that's like a tree sap, but it's like a sap that comes out of the rocks in the mountains
Oh,
in Asia, and this is what
Ah,
Shilajit is, yeah. And the
it is
Chinese they have
amazing.
for hundreds of years.
wow.
You know,
It's like,
it didn't take about 5 days, and I started feeling just amazing energy
Hmm.
from Sheila Heat.
I will have to
Yeah,
look
if
into
you
that.
check
Yeah.
out the channel Cultivate Elevate on Instagram or Telegram, he's got a lot of info on that. Shilajit and on pearl powder. Like pearl powder is really good for the eyes, so many things.
Yeah,
Yeah, basically it's like a calcium.
yeah. I understand it's the fulvic acid.
Yeah,
It-
Shilajit is the fulvic acid, yes.
it's the
Yeah.
fulvic acid. So I was taking fulvic acid. I was putting it in my water. And
Hmm.
then when I found out, made the connection with Shilajit, I just started taking taking that. And because the fulvic acid is in that. But
Hmm.
it is from my own experience, you want the energy, that Shilajit is amazing. I tell you not. I know CMOS is great. Dr. Sebi,
Hmm.
he really pushed CMOS, but Sheila Heat, I think, has even more minerals,
Okay.
even more. So, and I do take that too. So I
Hmm.
do quite a bit, guys. I just want to be healthy.
Me too.
You know what? You can't put a price on it.
No. And if you only
no,
eat
but
one
it's
meal a
really,
day, you got not money to spare, right?
You know what? You
Yeah.
know what? You're right about that. You're right
Yeah.
about that. That's true. Something else. I don't throw away any seeds. We recycle seeds. Whatever fruit I get, if it has a seed, it automatically, the scraps I use for composting. But my seeds, all of my seeds and my scraps that I can use to replant, always.
Oh yeah, I do that too.
Yeah,
Making a seed bank.
very good.
yeah, yeah. That's what I do.
But
Cool.
once you know when you're on this path, your health is so important.
Oh
And
my God.
that is like, yeah, but it's sometimes strange. Like you come across people that actually have diseases, and then you
Yeah,
know what they can do, and they're not open to that. They're like,
No.
yeah,
that is something that we come, yeah, but I come across. Like I do things that are like so way, like people like if I go further, people say like, yeah, but you were already so healthy. Like I'm like, yeah, but can even be more. And then I'm like, I'm doing things that people that are like have actually something are not always willing to do. But I'm like,
mhm,
once like just like you also understand that you are on this path, you're becoming more and more healthier, and then
yeah,
you find things that really like help you, like what you said, like Liezl had a good one with frequencies. I also have like an
Yeah.
energy frequency device with
right.
5 frequencies,
And it worked.
Mhm.
and that also, yeah, I did it on Valerie. I
I
did it
will
on
tell
Valerie
you, I
also. This
am a witness. It works. I promise you, it works.
Cool.
I promise you.
yeah, yeah, so I do like with that frequency device. I also have a thing for parasites as well that I can put on myself. But it also has like other things like frequencies on like people for like on a distance. And
Mm.
indeed, it's like it's really interesting. Like you frequencies, you find them on YouTube for everything, like for headache, for parasites glands, for radiation, like for everything you can do. Like, and I also feel
Mm.
like what you said, like exercising, being in your body, like really
Yes.
feeling your body, exercising your body is also really good.
It's very
Being
Mhm.
important.
like feeling your emotions, like not only like being more sensitive like to food, that you can make that choice,
Mm.
but also your emotions come up earlier. Like if you lose weight, you suddenly are less numb. You feel
It's
everything. And I was
it's
reading a book of Germanic
Germanic
geneeskunde,
healthcare.
Germaanse
Yeah.
geneeskunde, is Germanic health.
Healthcare.
And they thought like a lot of cancer start after having an emotional thing in your life, like a heavy emotional experience, and then because people not process that in a right way, like to get it out, it stores in the body with blockages.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's where we're touching mental health care. We would almost skip that, with all the physical things that we're talking
And
about.
and people are not like a lot of times not even aware of that sort of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It comes even a lot of the neuro problems comes from things like aluminium, things like fluoride crossing our
Yes.
brain blood barrier, and people don't
Yes.
realize it. They think, oh, it's hereditary, like it's this and it's that, genetic, but it's
No, it's
actually
not.
nothing of it is genetic. It's the toxins crossing our brain blood barrier, getting
Right.
into our
Yes.
brain, and
Aluminium is very good at it, crossing the
yes.
blood-brain barrier.
Exactly. And so when you have things that can also like for instance, it's hydrogen-rich water, it's antioxidant properties. It can also cross the brain-blood barrier. So actually, when you drink this kind of thing, you actually have experiences where you see people's symptoms lessen because they actually flush out that part of their body as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
That's
like,
so
but
true.
they know exactly what it all does. I saw recently like about like research studies, the fluoride do on the body, does aluminum on the body, like studies from the government. But also what you're saying, like we don't even we have an idea, we know that it's not good. Huh? We also intuitively feel that, but then you read certain things, and then you like find out also how to deliberately do these things that are like really harmful for the body. Also, like with X-rays and CT scans. Like I read yesterday somewhere, like the people say also it also enhances the like increases the possibility of maybe having cancer. I read in a report, and
Oh,
at
have
this
you?
Yeah.
moment there's a big
Oh,
lawsuit
duh.
going on. Yeah, there's a big
Yeah.
lawsuit going on about fluoride, fluoridation in water,
Mhm.
and the research in the lawsuit say that also that it makes children 15% less use. It's a big lawsuit going on in the States right now.
It drops your
Yeah,
IQ, but we already knew that in the 40s. That's why the Nazis put it in the drinking water.
yeah. But and
So
Yes.
this is what
it's old knowledge.
and,
It's just that we're being made ignorant of these facts, but we already knew all these things.
exactly. And just as much as we know that the frequencies have healing effects, it is also known that the frequencies have negative effects. So, like for instance, the music and the things and stuff, they can have literal
yes.
physical
Yeah.
negative effects on us. And the Wi-Fi routers, and all these things, they
Right.
have physical negative effects. But we can also then counteract it with frequencies that will then counteract that again. And
Exactly.
that's also what I have on my property. I have like frequencies running on our whole house property that gives us protection against EMFs and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all
So you have to watch the
cumulative, I
hurt.
would
The
say.
hurt.
You first.
Mhm. Oh, I was just gonna say we have to know which hurts, which numbers, the hurts of the music is healthy and which is unhealthy. So you have to watch the hurts. And
Yeah.
I was gonna say that. And the other thing I was gonna say, I just got a message for the first time. I never thought about it, and I stopped using fluoridated toothpaste years ago. And when I was going to the dentist, I wouldn't allow them to give me any fluoride. But the one thing that I didn't think about, and I don't know how it slipped me, but about 2 days ago I saw a TikTok message where the young man was saying, the biggest organ on your body is your skin. And
Yeah.
he was talking about how if you're doing everything else to avoid fluoride, but you're still taking a shower with a shower head that's allowing the water to come through, and you're not filtering the fluoride in the water getting in your skin, you're still getting fluoride.
Yeah, to some degree.
And
Yeah.
And the chlorine
I,
as well. The chlorine.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why detox is so important. It's all low grade, under attack. It's in the food, it's in
Yeah,
the air, it's in the water, it's everywhere. It's radiation.
yeah.
It's all cumulative,
But
and there will be
so what?
some threshold where your immune system just like, hey, I cannot help
That's right.
it anymore. So
So what
detox
I
and
think has been
protection.
working though,
Hmm.
yeah. So to finish that point, what I think has been working on my behalf to debug that is I do a lot of therapeutic baths.
Hmm.
I have several solutions, several um items that I use in my baths, like baking soda and Epsom salt.
Oh, me too.
Um, yeah, I use baking soda, Epsom salt, and I also use I'm trying to think what it's called. I use it. I have by my tub, I have all these different products, that I use. Sea salt, and this
Himalaya.
one other thing, I'm gonna walk inside and tell you because it's so important. But I use all of those things in my
Mm.
bath,
Hmm.
which pulls toxins.
Yes, that's baking
It pulls
soda is a big
toxins.
one of it, and I think
And
all the salts. And if you don't make your
all the
bath
salt.
too hot,
Hmm.
like body temperature, it will
But
actually pull the toxins out.
And can I just
that's
add
true.
one more thing that is like one of the massive lies that they've told us and to be afraid of is boron or borax. That's a
Hmm.
huge one.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
That
that's
they've
very
made
common.
us
That
afraid of it and telling us it's so
Yep.
dangerous, but it's actually so crucial for us.
Yeah.
I use that in my bath too, guys.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what
I
made me
use
think of
that.
it. I also put it
Yes,
across.
I use that. Um, and I'll tell y'all what else I did too, which I just think is great.
Hmm.
Um, in late 2020, my intuition, I got a download as well, and it prompted me to start going back, finding all those old organic, I call them medicines, but all of those grandmother used to use, and my great grandmother used
Yes.
to use
Yeah.
turpentine and all that old stuff.
The old
I just
knowledge.
started,
Yeah.
yeah, I found online and in some of the old country drugstores. I was able to start accumulating, stocking up. I stocked up, and even on baking soda and Epsom salt, I stocked up on
Hmm.
all that stuff. Because when this system goes down, those are the things we're gonna need.
Yeah.
And so all the old stuff,
And
because we
also
didn't,
drinking from
you
copper.
know what I mean?
Copper,
So
apple
I
cider
just started
vinegar,
stocking up.
castor oil. There's many.
And listen, castor oil, apple cider vinegar,
Mm.
white vinegar. I have a storeroom with all of the stuff that my great grandmother used to use.
Wow,
I finally found turpentine. you know,
that's hard to find.
um, it's hard to find, but I found it. I look every time I travel, I try to go to find a store that might have it.
I think you just have to like tell the audience that we're not talking about the paint stripper turpentine.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
You just
I'm
have
talking about the old stuff.
Turpentine. Yeah.
made from the pine
So
needles, right?
in my
And
bath, I
also
use
baking
this.
soda. It's like we can't
You can
see.
use.
We can say what it is. We can't see.
Let me tell you, it's
What's the name?
Indian healing clay, bentonite. Clay bentonite.
Oh, yeah, you can also bentonite clay.
Yeah, I
Bentonite.
use that in my
Right.
bath as well.
But
You can combine that with geolite.
yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, yeah. Dear light.
Sometimes when in the, but if you want to ingest it, make sure you always have food grade, like with baking soda. You can also
yeah.
ingest it,
Oh yeah.
but then you need to make
Yeah.
sure it's food grade because there are other ones that maybe have aluminium in them.
Yeah.
And but it's like there's so many things you can like crazy
That's so much you can do.
and a bath with a lot of salt. Yeah, and with the salt, it's sugar. When the normal process, white salt is not good, and the more natural salts, like also like calcium, salt and
Celtic sea
different
salt,
salt.
Himalaya salt.
That is
So yeah,
Mm.
my husband does the Celtic salt. He takes a bit on his tongue daily, to keep his blood pressure in order.
Yeah,
I stocked up on that too, and he just puts a little bit on his tongue daily.
that's
Just a
very
little
good.
bit.
I recently got some knowledge about that Celtic sea salt.
Yeah,
It's actually
yeah,
the only salt that has 4 types of magnesium in it. And it's
yeah,
also very helpful if people got like these swollen limbs where the fluids are not really getting absorbed by the cell.
yeah,
And the best treatment for that is actually Celtic sea salt, because those magnesium molecules are actually water hungry molecules. So when that gets into the
yeah,
cell, it actually pulls the fluids inside of the cell where it belongs. It's a
yeah.
very healthy salty sea salt.
It is.
That's one to remember.
Also, I invested. So I have a library. I have the most amazing library, guys. I just have to tell you that I buy books every week.
Mm,
Just about. I got books coming in. I have an amazing library about just about everything. And so I started learning about oils, uh,
mm,
organic oils, and
mm.
how much they can help. So I have an
Yeah.
array of oils that I use for
Oregano
all
oil
kinds of
springs
things.
to mind. Mm,
Yeah, all kinds of oils.
Mhm.
I use salt lamps to keep peace in my home. I use salt lamps. Um, what do you call that makes the little jingle? Oh, I can't think of what you call them. The little dinghies that you hang up and they bang each other and it makes the little calming noise.
yeah, yeah.
Wind
Yeah,
chimes. Wind
wind
chimes.
Yeah,
chimes.
those
Yes,
wind chimes. Yes.
yes. I created a sunroom in the back of my home, and I got all these windows, about 10 big windows.
Wow.
And then I put plants, and all of that is healing for me, and I'm sure for many people I've heard. All those kinds of things. We're talking about health now. We're talking about mental health. We're talking about wholesome health. So all of
Yes.
those things I want to share, that those are things that I have done to help
Mm.
keep me, healthy mentally as well as physically, you know,
That
and
might
getting
be the
lots
most
of,
important one.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
because if just having a good mental health, it's just having good mental health can heal you. You can be
Mm.
dealing with so many other things, but if you got everything right up here, that alone can keep you afloat. And I learned that from my one of my elders.
Mm.
So it's just so many things we can do, guys, that
Yeah.
they
We
hid.
could do
They
this for
hid it from.
hours.
Yeah. My plants. I talk to my plants. I hug my trees. I do. I hug my trees, because they're alive too. They have
My rosemary.
yes, they are. And so there's so many things we can do. And so, and I'm in that
Yeah.
process, and those are some of the things I wanted to share.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and you're doing amazing. Like everybody here,
Yeah.
and
You
Lisa
can.
has to go. So she said, "Thank you everybody for this call." And I will also put underneath where I post this. I will post links so people can also find
Mhm.
us because
Cool.
we have some. We also say we don't know everything, but we know some
no,
things at least, and we're like, and it's interesting how we come to the same conclusions with
yeah,
several people. So
Yeah.
not some random thing. Like we really
No.
deliberately
We just
come
might
to
be onto
certain things
something
because
there.
yeah,
yeah, maybe. And
Yeah.
but we can help people actually, also people that have physical problems, and that is
Mhm.
also like yeah, I'm really grateful. Like people coming to me, like if I do like energetic healings, but also like I know also a lot of information that I physically like people
mhm,
can actually do to help
Yeah.
themselves in numerous ways. But what you say also, Valerie, is like mental health is also so important like having a positive outlook, being like having a different perspective on life. How you know that like they lied about everything and it's really difficult.
Yeah.
Like this system is not meant for you to thrive, but you can take your power back. You can change your thoughts. You can change what you focus on.
Yes.
You can change your beliefs. You can change your perspective.
Yes.
I
From
would,
there
I would
can
like to
happen.
elaborate a little bit on that, like, because it just reminds me of something that if when you start talking like this, for instance, my story about losing the weight, people are starting to tell you their story. Why do you torture yourself like that and such and
Yeah.
such? And I'm like, well, it doesn't feel like torturing to me. That's your story. But
Yeah.
what came to me is like when you're doing it, and I think Valorie also touched on that, it becomes a passion. And you can see
Yes.
it. I can see it in your story too. You
Oh
become
my God.
enthusiastic, and it doesn't cost you energy. It gives you energy, and once it becomes a
And look,
passion,
you know
you
what?
don't
If
even need to
only
think.
y'all
It becomes
knew.
fun. Yeah, it becomes
Mhm.
fun to do. It's your hobby now. So I think
I'm just,
that's something that people should realize, that it becomes more fun the longer you do it, and you
yeah,
reap the
it's a
benefits of it.
passion of mine.
Yeah,
And I
it's
just,
obvious.
and I help a lot of people. I help a lot of people. I have a YouTube channel, and
Nice.
I've kind of taken a little break because we just purchased a ranch, and
Mm-hmm.
we are homesteading out here, and so it's been a lot of work to get this ranch off the ground. So I kind of take
Yeah.
a little break from my YouTube channel, but I have a channel because I too am a light worker. We all have gifts, and so I tell people about that channel, and for certain people that it resonates with, I offer them to go there, and it may be something that I say that can help them,
Yeah, I would
because
definitely want to check it out.
yeah, Liezl awake is I can put it in the
In the
feed
chat.
somewhere,
Yeah, I will
but
Yeah,
put it
yeah,
in here, but I will put
yeah.
it anyway. Um, Laila awake, but I will put
Liezl awake,
anyway. Yeah, I will put
yeah,
anyway the links underneath where I have it, like on Facebook and YouTube, the links to all your channels so people can find it. Because once you are on the other side and once you are healthy and vibrant and like passionate about this, you just want to share this with other people
you
and
do,
Yeah.
and it also comes
yeah,
from
Spread the
the
word.
inside. If you make
and
videos, and that also
Yeah.
really excites you.
yeah, I'm very
Yeah.
passionate. My husband, he has to calm me down sometime, because when you're talking to people who are not there, they sometimes people, when they're not awake, they don't know, and they call us crazy sometimes because
Yeah.
we've crossed the line in the knowledge, and our pineal gland is open, and we can talk about these things, and there's still a lot of people still are not awake, and they
No.
think we crazy. We sound crazy to them, and
People always call crazy what they don't understand, huh?
they don't understand. And
Mm.
when actually we're not the ones that's crazy. We woke up out of crazy.
Yeah.
We survived crazy.
Exactly. Exactly.
And,
That's
and
I'll drink to
sometimes I
that.
want to tell them so bad, and I have to find patience, and I have to find a
Mm.
way to talk to people who are, who are still there, because I'm so
Yeah.
passionate, and my
Yeah.
husband say, well, Valorie, not everybody's gonna hear. Not everybody's gonna wake up.
Yeah.
Some people, that's not their path. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I know, but I just want to wake them up so bad, but not
You wish,
everybody's gonna
yeah,
do it.
you wish it on them, huh? But
I
awareness
just
Yeah, it's
want
cannot be
all
everybody to
given.
be free.
fun.
Yeah,
It's
awareness
all
cannot be
for
given.
everybody.
They need to grow into it themselves. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
that's what I've had to get patience to realize, that everybody's
Me
path
too.
is their path. I just want
Yeah,
everybody to be free. I just want everybody to know that
exactly.
Mhm.
they're
Yeah.
not, and they can be free. And it's not for everybody.
Just
That's
stop
been the
following
hardest thing.
authority.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's not for everybody.
it's not for
So
everybody. At least not
everybody.
in this life. Maybe
Mm,
not in this life.
may- mm.
Yeah. But at one point, I hope we all will, but maybe that's another talk.
Yeah,
Maybe
Yeah,
that's
that I feel another
what,
talk coming.
yeah,
what is gonna come in the future. Like maybe we're
Mm,
gonna talk about that maybe next time.
yeah.
yeah.
And that is really something that I'm very excited about also. So maybe
Hmm.
we
I
talk
have
about
some
that.
books. When you do that talk, if hopefully I can be available to be on with you because I have some books I want to share that can
Cool.
kind of help on that topic. I got books
Awesome.
on
Very good.
everything, Janneke. You
Me
name
It's
it,
how
I
you
got
plug
books.
apps. It's how you plug apps in your brain, huh?
Oh my
You read a
God.
book.
I'm just
Yeah, this
doing
is
my
like
thing, guys.
Yes, wonderful.
I have
Living my
like
life.
one really crazy story also from because like when you're detoxing, when you're also expelling things out of your body, and I had
Hmm.
last week actually something coming out of my body that I like that looked like hair and that was painful
Hmm.
when I was doing and and I was doing yoga. I was pain on my big toe,
Hmm.
and I was like, "What is this?" And I didn't see it, and then I did it again, the yoga, and I came with my pancet. I checked, and it was like I took something out of my big toe, and it looked like a black hair, but it's not a black hair because it's like
Hmm.
otherwise it would not hurt. So I asked
Oh,
two detox experts, and they think it's nanotechnology because that comes together and it's like
yeah.
um, yeah, so that is something that is
That's definitely a different podcast, but I think maybe
Yeah,
graphene oxide. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
it's like I still wanted to people I shared it. I first didn't want to share that because it was too far out there, but then a friend of mine
Yeah.
said she had someone her baby had something black over her toe and almost the toe was almost falling off and it would look like a
Yeah.
hair but it wasn't. So maybe
Okay.
there are people out there having strange symptoms and strange things coming out of the body. And know, like there are people out there who know what it is and that can give you information. So
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
there's some things like I have several people that are really like into detoxing, have
Mm.
Telegram channels on Facebook, and people are but because once you start detoxing, things come out of your body that you didn't even are
Yeah.
aware of.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
yeah, yeah. So
That,
like maybe well, my story is maybe not even that crazy,
no,
and I
don't be
just
alarmed. There can be a lot of shit in your body. That's true. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
you know what? I just
Mm.
keep an open mind. One of the positive things about me is I have a very open mind, and I'm
Mm.
not. I'm not judgmental in that in the point that people have strange things happening and that most people would be would criticize. I
Yeah.
just don't. I just don't. You know,
I'm here.
because that
Mm.
we're finding out a whole lot of things that we didn't know.
We
They
don't
hid
know anything.
everything.
We're finding out.
Yeah, they hid
That's the
yeah.
thing.
everything.
Yeah. At the moment you tell
So
yourself, I know
we have to.
everything, you're not looking anymore.
That's
Yeah.
right. So we have to
So
keep
that's
an
why.
open mind.
Yeah, and that is also
So,
we're like an open mind and we can talk about anything. We're uh, like like we can talk about anything. So that's why it's like nothing is too crazy for us. So if like people having
oh,
really strange things happening, you can
Oh, that.
really you can or like you have a story or like something that you really love your like
Mm.
you need to share.
Yeah.
Just know that we are there. I will post all our things on there. First of all, I
Lots
want
of.
to like I want to say like you can
oh,
find her link is she's from South Africa, living in Holland. She's very much about like water, sharing water devices, like
Mm-hmm.
remineralized water machine. And if you know more, want to know more about that, and also she does also homeschooling her children. So, and that is also
Mm.
something that is really beautiful. So, if people want to know more about that, go to her link. And maybe you can also share a bit more about yourselves, like what people like to if they want to find yours sites as well.
yeah. However, I can help. You know, I was thinking we can talk about homesteading at some point too. But that's beginning to be really popular over here in the States, especially with the heavily neuromelanated, because we've gotten away from that for years, and now our group are starting to get back into the indigenous living. And so we're trying to learn more and more about how to live off grid, how to live in the country. That's
Yes,
a
without
very heavy
refrigerators
topic
and
in the
stuff.
state.
Good one. To
Can
be continued.
you hear me?
Yeah, you're dropping
Yeah.
out, but we heard the first part.
I'm dropping out.
Let's
Yeah.
wrap it up because she's also driving.
Yeah, because I'm also driving. I have
No
an
worries.
appointment.
We're wrapping it up anyway, so thank you, Guillaume. You
Yeah,
also
I
want to share,
enjoyed it.
like,
And
good.
All right.
We
Well,
enjoyed
so,
having
Guillaume, you
but
can find
you
me
here,
thank you
Valorie.
for inviting me. Yeah.
Oh, thank you
April
for
1st.
being here, man. That's awesome.
April 1st. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Spring.
Yes.
That's
I
awesome. And now she's gone. Let's wrap it up, Janneke. Yeah.
Valerie, you're not.
Yeah,
So I'm
she's
going to
dropping
wrap
out
it up.
because of
Guillaume, you can say a last thing about you.
Yeah, I'm Guillaume. You can find me on Facebook. I'm a philosopher with some background in mental health care, addiction care. Anything you want to ask me, feel free to do.
Okay.
Back to you.
Thank you all. It was again a really beautiful talk. I was really happy. Like we're so many. Or I muted you, Valerie, because you were like dropping off all the time. But I'm just like wrapping it up now. But really thank you for everybody who was here. Also Liezl. And I myself, I'm a yoga and meditation teacher, energy healer, and I give courses as well, healing courses and energy healing courses, and lots of talks and a podcast. And I spread seeds of consciousness wherever I can. And that's why I also call myself Miss Hellbreaker. It's my real surname. And I want to help people break free from hell, like / matrix, like normal society. I want to help people break free them, like physically, mentally, emotionally, on like different, and also financially, whatever I can help people with.
Oh, you can help me with
So I will send you my webinar, Hacking the Matrix.
Cut the light.
Hacking the Matrix.
So we can talk.
It's a free webinar. It's a free webinar where I give tips and tricks from all levels, because I really think we can take our power back and free ourselves. And
yes, we can.
I want to help people with that.
To be continued.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Amazing. And having the best. I always say, have the best life ever, and it's up to you to take control over your own life and health. So good luck.
Very good.